Give me
I
the
wanted,
deal.
I wanted to play catcher in center field, and I wanted to wear number 3 like Dale Murphy.
All right, so you're a Braves fan through and through.
Braves fan through and through.
Are you from Atlanta originally?
I'm from Cumming, yeah. I mean, I was born in South Georgia on a farmland. My mom's parents and extended family down there.
Okay.
We had about 450 acres of crops.
No way.
Yeah, like pecan groves.
Yeah.
You might call them pecans. But pecan groves,
Yeah.
I guess a vineyard, but we didn't really make wine or anything. It was just like grapes, like
Yeah.
grapevines. We had horses, goats, pigs, chicken like a small chicken coop, and
Yeah.
ate our own, fresh chicken eggs, and yeah.
So do you come from a big family?
Yeah. Well, yeah. So my grandfather and all his siblings all served in World War II.
Okay.
My dad is from Tennessee, like the Cleveland, Tennessee side.
Yep.
And it's nothing massive. Like my mom's family was pretty big. I don't know. There's dozens and dozens of grandkids, and now dozens and dozens and dozens great grandkids. But my dad's family was raised kind of really in poverty. And my dad, it was just 2 of them, him and his older brother, like older by a couple of years, retired FBI under the Reagan administration.
Yeah.
Served under Reagan.
Yep.
An FBI in Knoxville, Tennessee. So anytime, they go and scout before if they have an upcoming event 3 weeks from now, they're going to scout that area.
Sure.
And so he worked a lot there. And then continued to do some PI work, I think. I'm not really sure exactly what he did.
Yeah.
And oddly enough, he passed like 8 months before my dad did back in 2022. Yeah, literally like 8 months.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So is the land still in the family?
So that was my mom's family down in South Georgia, in Montezuma.
Okay.
Like right below Macon. It's in Macon County, which is right below Macon, Georgia.
Yeah.
So like near Unadilla and all the more conservative Amish, which are like Mennonites.
Yes.
So it's all Mennonites around. So all our neighbors are Mennonites.
Okay.
They kind of they churn their own butter. I mean, they do a lot of their own stuff. They literally farm their land like little like we'd be playing wiffle ball out in the big open field.
Yeah.
Like our yard being a big open field, we'd be playing wiffle ball out there as a kid. I mean, this is like during the summers when I go back and visit. I mean,
Yeah.
I left there when I was 4 to come to Cumming. So
Oh,
it's 79.
dang. Okay.
I've lived in Cumming since 79.
Okay.
But back then, we would go out and play out in the fields, and they don't believe in they don't watch TV. They don't believe in competition and sports.
Really?
So they don't play basketball. Yes, we're literally a flat, well-groomed grass yard, and had a basketball on a post out there.
No way.
And occasionally they come over there and play, but they were terrible because they didn't grow up playing it. But they would get away and they would get a little break from the farm. But you go over to their property to see if they want to come over and play hide and seek or something. When you say neighbors, you're probably a quarter to a half mile away out in the country.
Okay.
So you're taking your 4-wheeler or 3-wheelers back then.
Yeah.
And you're driving the distance through the dirt, the dirt pastures, grass pastures.
That's hilarious.
And so we'd go over there, and 3 and 4-year-old boys are out in overalls and suspenders, black pants or navy blue pants, Yeah.
suspenders
and a white button-down shirt,
Yep.
and their big brimmed cap, out there working out in the fields, literally helping their dads
No
and
way.
their uncles. And the girls are dressed up in their aprons. In the kitchen, cooking and prepping meals. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just like you see on TV.
Yeah.
Those are our neighbors. And
Little House on the Prairie, huh?
it was really neat seeing that. So every summer we go back, and everybody remembered everybody. Their last names are Yoders, which sounds
Yeah.
So you'd see them. They'd all come over, and what's really really neat. One of my fondest memories going back to visit my grandparents and extended family in South Georgia, like during Christmas. Every year we went there. Even to this day, probably the last time I've been was probably 5 years ago. But every year, up until 5 years ago, every single year, like clockwork, we'd go and visit them during Christmas. And every year, the Amish neighbors, they get on a flatbed truck and they drive to their neighbors, and they literally do old school Christmas caroling.
No
I mean, it's
way.
amazing. Yeah, I mean, they pull up to the thing. They don't knock or anything. You hear them start singing.
Yeah.
And you're all gathered around the houses. I mean,
Did you do it with them?
No, we
Oh.
just go outside, and then we had my family was close to them, so they'd all bring them in, and give them warm cookies
Yeah.
and coffee or hot chocolate and stuff like that. So it's pretty neat.
Yeah.
It was both my parents. My mom retired
good.
as a school teacher. She was a disciplinarian through and through.
Okay.
In fact, at her funeral, it was amazing when she passed back in 2015. How many people she impacted, positively.
Wow.
And I mean, it was very humbling. There was a line out not only out of the room, but out of the front of the funeral home, and people come up to me and like, "Oh, do you remember me?" And I was like, "It's been 40 years, 50 years." I'm 51, so it's like 40 years at this point. And I was like, it's been a long time. And they're like, "Oh, your mom taught me in 5th grade, me and my siblings."
Yep.
And they're like, she was the She'd be the first teacher to put her hand on your back and tell you great job. She'd also be the first person to, if you did something wrong, to call you out for it.
Okay.
And if you were talking, she would take your recess away, or she would assign you homework, which was copying a page out of the dictionary was my mom's thing. Like literally copying word for word, writing the page out of the dictionary. And so that was something that to this day I remember my mom doing to people. So I'll run into people I've known for years and they'll go, man, I remember your mom used to make us copy pages of the dictionary. She was a disciplinarian. She assigned us chores and expected those chores to get done.
Yep.
But they were also at the same time the biggest supporters. My dad was my dad traveled for Ace Hardware as a district salesman, covered like all the Southeast, setting up new stores. And, he told you once and expected, if he had to tell you again, that there was a lesson behind it.
There was a reason for that.
Yeah. And so both of them were equally impactful as far as like discipline and work ethic. But they were also the most supportive. That's awesome. Very good childhood. I had two siblings, both older, and all three of us are involved in sports year round, all through our childhood into high school and beyond. And it's not physically possible for both of them to be at all of our events. Most of the time they occurred at the same time. But our memories all recall them both being at all of our events. So how they
never missed.
They never missed. So they were the biggest supporters, but at the same time they were the biggest people behind you saying, you can do better, we expect better in school and in work and everything. So. I knew I wanted to go play baseball somewhere, and I was heavily recruited for baseball. Heavily recruited, and but at the same time, it's odd. I don't know if people that play enough sports, you get some wear and tear. And one of the things that impacted me was I was like, okay, do I want to go to a big school and be a small fish in a big pond and sit on the bench till I'm junior or senior and earn my keep? But by then, my achy elbow and shoulder are going to be, I can't even throw myself out of a wet paper sack. Or do I want to try to go somewhere and shine? And so, of all the places I had an opportunity to discuss and go to, I looked at Valdosta State, and I talked to Tommy Thompson. I forgot, it's been years since he retired. And I met with him numerous times. He said, "Look, Chris, I can almost all but guarantee that I'm gonna start a meet. I'll need to find a position for you on the field."
Wow.
And so I went down there and played at Valdosta, and I got kind of bitten by the bug. I didn't play football my whole high school year except for my freshman year because I didn't want to get hurt because I was a big baseball player. I was like, I don't want to go out there and have a stupid injury. And I got down there and I was like, I want to play football. So I walked on. I went through tryouts and I walked on and played football. I was not a superstar. I had 6 receptions my entire college career, and all of them like 3 yards and maybe closer. I was like a possession guy. I was a 225-pound wide receiver. So I was the guy that did the drag across the middle that was going to take the hit immediately. I was not going out and catching 60-yard bombs and running for TDs. I was in there to do a crackback on the, which is legal at the time, do a crackback on the defensive end. And hopefully inflict fear on him, and then the rest of the game they're looking for my number and see if so they can return the favor. But no, I did that. I had a good time doing it, and I went to Valdosta State, and then finished up at North Georgia College. What I really wanted to do, ultimately, oddly enough, is I wanted to be an orthopedic surgeon. That was kind of always my dream.
No kidding.
Yeah, so it's like sports medicine, the physical body, its response to nutrition, exercise, and injury has always appealed to me. Like even as an athlete, when I was playing, I always felt like, who's this our strength coach over here? Was just back in, the 90s, was just a guy that, not like they are today. They're science-based, they're experience-based. There's a lot that goes into these guys, and so I wanted to be an orthopedic surgeon. And Valdosta didn't have a pre-med program. It may have changed, but they didn't have a pre-med program or anything like that. So I got accepted in nursing school. And started doing some nursing because I knew some of the courses would carry over, like your whatever they may be. I don't know if it's like physics or whatever they carry over to. Got all my chemistries, did really well in all my classes, advanced classes. And then in nursing school, the funny part is that I've talked to some of my friends that are physicians today, and they all laughed about it, was that one of the rotations in nursing schools, I was in the ER. And working in the ER, and one of my semesters, I guess at the time, now it's all it's quarters back then, now semesters now. And so one of my quarters, I was in the ER, just kind of assisting and, running amok or whatever you do in there as a student. And I remember thinking, the next person that coughs in my face, I'm gonna lose my lid. Like I'm just like that. I was like, you're old enough to cover your mouth or turn your face or do something. And I just remember that always bothering me. Like I was like, maybe being a germaphobe and being in medicine is probably not my right calling. Now, if I could skip straight to like working on shoulders, knees, and elbows and hips, maybe that's a better fit for me. But I don't think it works that way.
Yeah.
So it's funny, like all my physicians, my oldest brother's a nurse practitioner, and everybody to this day still says, "Man, you missed your calling. You would have made a great doctor. Like, you know the body,
Yep.
like, you know the stuff. You care about the people you work with," and so it just naturally filled into my next passion, which is becoming a strength conditioning coach, because I love the athletics.
Yep.
I love taking care of people. I wish I'd had something like that for me.
Sure.
Taking care of me. It's like I'm kind of like I was joking saying I'm a Chevrolet mechanic that drives a Ford. I can take care of everybody else's cars.
Yeah.
I just can't take care of my own. And I felt that way as an athlete. I was like, man, I wish I'd have had somebody. So I really just fell in love with the strength conditioning aspect, the sports medicine side of the house, where I'm in the weight room, helping people rehab from injuries and trying to prevent injuries. And so I did that for years. Okay. And I loved it. But unless you're the main guy for the Atlanta Falcons or the main guy for the Atlanta Braves, you're just it's a rough life. I mean, it's a tough life. You're getting there early mornings. You're staying late. You're traveling a lot, and unless you're that main guy, you're probably not making a lot of money.
Okay.
Yeah, I was with the Milwaukee Brewers for a year.
Got it. Okay.
And then from there, I went to U.S. Army Rangers down at Fort Benning, specifically with the 3rd Ranger Battalion.
Okay.
Solely dedicated to them, about 1,200 guys. 1,200 of the world's elite soldiers, and my job is to combat readiness, just get them ready to go overseas. At that time, deploying over into Iraq and Afghanistan, get them as ready to do what they do best and prepare their bodies to be, when I first got there, I went to the man in charge, which is the battalion commander, and I went to him and I said, I asked for, like within 3 months of being there, they didn't know me from Adam really, and I went and asked for like 50 new spin bikes to put in this big open room, like a 10,000 square foot room or plus, and put some other stuff in there as well. We had a great, like a 15,000 square foot weight room, had a combatives room. We had all this stuff. We had a physical therapy room. We had a lot of stuff there at my disposal that I could use. And I said, we need to get the guys off the pavement. Because if there's one thing you'll find, like in the old school special ops guys, Rangers, Delta, like CAG, Delta Force, SEALs, MARSOC, Green Berets, SF. You see these guys, they all, their bodies will shut down long before their brains do. Their brains determine how far they're willing to go, not their bodies. Most of us would shut down and get tired or achy and just your feet get raw on a long road march. These guys just push through it. They have the ability to do that. It's willpower. And these guys have an amazing ability to overcome some of these things that most of us would just succumb to. And so I went to the battalion commander and I said, look, man, you hire me to get these guys combat ready, and I can tell you that when you step foot downrange, you're going to want your guys not thinking about, oh man, my lower back's beaten up, my knees are beaten up more than they already are, because we're all going to get wear and tear, right?
But it becomes a distraction, really.
Right. But you want them to be focused on the missions, not focusing on, man, I wish my back wasn't hurting like this. I mean, granted, you can't avoid all things, but you can minimize maybe mitigate some of it. And he was like, oh, we're not going to spend bikes. That's for like the YMCA down the street. And I said, I hear you. But I can show you that you're still going to get out. We're still going to pound the pavement. We're still going to do, road marches. We're still going to do ruck carries. We're still going to do all the strenuous stuff, but just minimize the amount and the frequency and the volume of that so we can get their bodies. And I guarantee you, he said, oh, you guarantee that? And I said, yeah. And he said, how are you going to guarantee it? And I said, I'll tell you what, when's the next deployment where the majority of you guys are deploying? Because they're on rotations. They have like different companies, Alpha Company, Bravo, Charlie, so on and so forth. And he said, well, in next 6 weeks, we're going to be gone for 3-6 months, whatever it was. And I said, I'll tell you what, let's do this. Let's put together a 10-week test. I'll do some pre-testing. Let's do a 10-week program. I'll do some pre-testing, upper body strength, upper body power, upper body endurance, lower body strength, power and endurance, cardiovascular endurance, and I'll do all this stuff, and I'll show you the results of that after 10 weeks if you'll have some guys designated to me that are required to show up and do this program. And he said, well, you'll probably have 125 to 200 guys on rear D, which is guys that maybe are staying back from recovering from injuries, or their wife's pregnant, or they've got leave and they want to take off, or they've got school, like to go upgrade from a E3 to an E4, an E4, E5 or something like that. I forget what those are called, ANOC, BNOC, something like that. But they had guys there, and he said, all right, so I can do that. So we did. So we did like seated med ball pushes with your back up against the wall in like an L shape, like a shot put. I mean, not a shot put, but a med ball push for upper body power. We did amount of pull-ups. We did all these different tests. And then I did my training program, treated them like I started to use the phrase with all the guys around. You're nothing but underpaid professional athletes. Your body is your tool.
Yep.
The better shape and the better physical condition, the better body awareness, agility, just like an athlete, a running back, he's not looking down at the ground.
What you're capable of, yeah.
The running back's not looking down at the ground when he's darting through holes on the football field. He knows where his body is, awareness in space. So these guys need to do the same thing. If you clear a room, you shouldn't have to be looking down at the floor to know, or looking at the end of your rifle to know where your rifle is pointing. You have awareness of that. Your body needs to be the same way. And so we did that, and 10 weeks later, I did the post-testing of the same exercises we pre-tested with, and almost every single person exceeded their pre-test scores. And so I showed him that, and within like 3 weeks, I had 55 spin bikes. So it was a great experience.
Yeah.
To this day, that's probably one of the most jobs I've been the most fond of, and I'm thankful for, because for me, I got a chance to serve my country the best way I know how, which is taking care of the guys that go to war every day.
Wow.
And so it's a great thing, and I have literally the most long-lasting relationships that I still keep in touch with. Numerous guys that are spread throughout the nation and the world that I talk to on a daily basis.
That's crazy.
And so it's been a blessing for that. Yeah. So my first job in sales was I did retail. Okay. I had no idea what I was doing. And I worked for Ashley Furniture.
Oh, jeez.
And it lasted less than a year.
Okay.
And I think part of the reason is it's very reactive.
Yes.
It's not proactive at all. So I can't encourage sales. I mean, I can only show you what you came to see, which is a sofa or a mattress.
Yep. And you're just waiting.
Yeah, I'm just waiting. And some people come in to kick tires when their wife's down the street or their husband's down the street. And it was just very reactive.
Yep.
And that doesn't really fit my personality. I'm kind of a doer, not a waiter.
Yeah.
And like if you want something, you got to go out and get it. If you're hungry, you got to go to the kitchen and get something to eat.
Yeah.
You can't just wait for it to just magically appear on a plate. And I kind of, that was kind of hard for me to digest. And so I wasn't very successful, I think, because I just didn't enjoy it.
Yep.
And then, my first outside sales job, which ultimately led me to here, was I sold water purification systems.
That's right. I forgot about that.
To a place not far down the street from here, actually.
Yeah.
And since then, they've been purchased by another water system. But it was a great job. It taught me a lot of the sales process. Everything from prospecting, lead generation, all the way through, taking care of your prospects until they become a client, and then taking care of your clients to, maintain client retention and showing them the value of working with you and your company that you're with.
Yep.
Kind of all those things. And then I was there for about a year, and one of my clients that I was selling, one of my clients was a dermatology place.
Okay.
And with the water systems, and I was in the building one day, just calling, kind of nesting, calling on some of the other practices around there, just kind of making my routine stop bys. And as I was walking in the hall, the practice administrator who I had a good relationship with, she sticks her head out and she goes, "Hey, Chris, you got a minute?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Well, sure, I got a minute." She's like, "Come back here, I want to talk to you about something." So she brings me back to her office. I thought it was going to be about water systems, and she says, "Hey, how set are you on this job you're doing, selling the water systems?" And I was like, "Well, that's kind of a loaded question. I tell you, I'm looking to make a change. Then what are you going to do? Get me fired?"
Right.
Or I was like,
"Is this a trap?"
Yeah, is this a trap? Trick question. So she says, "Well, the reason I'm asking is, our IT company is relatively small. It's a startup company. They support us here in the practice, and I know the owner well, and I know he's looking to bring in a sales guy to expand their organization and grow their footprint. Is that something you'd be interested in?" And I said, "Sure." She goes, "All right, well," and she gave me his name.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's something you want me to discuss, but but anyway, gives me his name.
Yep.
And, or she gives me his name, and literally 2 days later, he calls me, tells me where he got my information from the administrator. And then he says, let's meet for lunch, have a beer.
Yeah.
Let's see where this goes.
Yeah.
So we met at a Village Tavern here in Alpharetta, and had a bite to eat and a beer, sat at the bar, and we sat and talked about just life.
Yeah.
It was a great meeting. And he said, "Look, I want you to come in, and we'll sit down and do a little bit more formal, but look, man, for all intents and purposes, I think I've got what I want to get out of this." And offered me a job. Within 2 weeks, I was, working with this healthcare-focused MSP.
That's so funny.
And so I was there for 8 years.
Yeah.
And by the time I left, 8 years later, I think when I started, I was around number 7 employee.
Okay.
And then when I left 8 years later, I think there were over 250 employees.
Dang.
Yeah. And then now I think they're about 450 employees. I still keep in touch with them.
Wow.
I've seen the partners, the original partners recently.
Yep.
Great guys.
Yep.
They provide a great service, well liked and well respected. And not only here locally now, but they're have a national footprint. It's crazy. Yeah, I think it's the discipline and having a short term memory.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really. I mean, you got to be disciplined. You know, it's funny. I see this all the time on like social media. Like fitness is a big thing right now. Everybody's like fitness, like, oh, how do I do this? How do I do that? And you know, motivation. And I say this all the time, and people get really upset with me. And I say discipline beats motivation 10 out of 10 times. Mm-hmm. You can watch Rocky and get motivated, but not every day when you wake up you can be like, man, I can't wait to go make sales calls. I can't wait to beat the phone down today and just call people that tell me no. I can't wait to do that.
Yep.
But you got to just stick to the process, trust the process, and do it.
Yep.
And that's the way sports is that, you know, you go, like you said, you go 0 for 4 one day. You know what? Tomorrow you might go 3 for 4 with 2 home runs.
Yeah. Yep.
Or today you go 3 for 4 with 2 home runs, and you better put that in the bank somewhere and get ready for the next day because you're gonna go 0 for 4.
Yep.
But you gotta have short-term memory for both sides because you can't live off what success you had yesterday, and you can't dwell on the lack of success you had yesterday.
Yeah.
And that easily translates into sales because I've definitely had my lulls in my sales career.
Yeah.
I've had the months where I go, man, I'm gonna strike it rich. I'm gonna do good. And then I've had months where I go, man, maybe this isn't right for me. And you just have to, you know, you push through it, you laugh about it.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, that's it. They're very correlated. That's probably my ultimate internal conflict. So
Yeah.
you know, sometimes I feel like I do. I feel like I have something.
Same. Yeah.
And then sometimes I feel like I'm like I walk out of a meeting and I go, man, who was that guy in there talking? Like I was terrible. Like what happened to that guy? I mean, I just felt like somebody hit me over the head with a bat or something like that. And I just, you know, I stumbled through it. Yes and no. And I think that style is, I think I've talked to you a couple times, like you said, we've debriefed after meetings and each of the people here, you know, you, Brad, and Dave and Jesse and Bill, you guys all have a similar, very similar results, similar approaches, but slightly different approach, if that even makes sense whatsoever. Or tact or whatever, and different personalities going in. And I've seen that and I've picked up certain things that you do, Phil, and certain things that I've been with Dave that he does, and certain things I've done with Brad that he does, and sitting talking with Jesse that he does, that I feel that I would love to kind of learn and apply to my approach. So I feel that they are something I can learn or that makes sense to me. They kind of just click.
Yep.
And I'm like, I like how you do that. You know, I mentioned one day that you go in and you talk about you're a great, not storyteller like you're making up a story, but a storyteller in that you do a great job of just telling a story of why you're there, who you are, kind of what AOT stands for, what their pains and potential solutions could be, and you tie it all together. You do a great job of telling a story. And I think I've told you that twice now I've been with you. And it's something that really resonated with me. And I catch myself, I was telling Dave the other day, I was in a meeting, and it's kind of an impromptu meeting. The lady started peppering me with questions, and I was shocked myself on how much I could actually, for lack of better terms, regurgitate. I could actually on the fly just start talking about, and I looked back when I got in the car, and I was like, man, I thought I did all right.
Yep.
But to answer your question, I feel like my approach has been just what's made me successful at the time is just genuinely caring who I'm talking to.
Yep.
And I try to I try to take myself and put myself on their side of the table. And see it from their perspective, because I learned a long time ago you can't be the buyer and the seller. I can't say, hey, what do you think about this price? It's probably too high. Well, that's not for you to decide if it's too high or too low, or you got to you present the package and how it's going to benefit them and kind of hopefully eliminate their pains, and it provides an invaluable solution to them. And then you put the cost out there and you let them make the choice.
Yep.
And hopefully you've showed enough value in it. One of the things I always wanted, we talked about where'd you see as a kid? Where'd you see yourself? Well, something as I got an adult, it's funny, it's kind of like the guy, when you're 20 years old, you want the Corvette, but you can't afford it. And as you get older and you can afford certain things, well, mine was always a home gym. I always wanted a nice home gym.
Okay.
I was like, one day when I own a home, I'm going to get a home gym.
Yeah.
So it's a passion of mine is working out, taking care of myself.
Yep.
It's kind of like taking care of your car. Your car is only going to perform as good as you take care of it.
Yep.
And yes, am I beaten up? Do I got mileage on me? Absolutely. But I do my best to take care of it. I try to fuel it with the right things. Do I have lapses in that and get my occasional Burger King, Taco Bell or something? Yeah.
Fair enough.
But I try to take care of my body. And you said about the discipline. We keep going back to discipline. Discipline to me is I always joke. it's probably not something to joke on, but I always joke and say I would never make a good drug addict because I refuse to let something have a grip over me that I can't control.
Yeah.
It's infuriating. So if I feel something that I don't even know what to say. Like, let's take an Advil because my shoulder's been flaring up. I'm going to take an Advil. Like, my girlfriend's telling me all the time, hey, why don't you put BioFreeze? I'm like, no, because that's just it's a crutch. I mean, it's like, if there's an underlying problem, if my shoulder's aching or my elbow's aching or my knee's aching, I either need to stop doing what I'm doing, change the range of motion or the weight or the frequency. Something needs to be changed. It's not going to be putting BioFreeze on it to dull the nerve sensation, telling my brain that, hey, there's pain there. That's not the solution to me.
Yep.
And I don't like the idea of having a crutch per se.
Yep.
And so I feel like, when something has a hold of you that you don't have control over, it's almost like a sign of weakness to myself.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds bad to say. I just don't like having those things have control over me. It's just knowing that something has that almost infuriates me. I dwell on that. I'm like, man, I shouldn't be that way.
Yep.
But what I do to stay sharp is I work out daily. I invest in a home gym. I have a really nice home gym.
Yep.
To your dismay, I'll probably work out in complete silence a lot of times. I hear nothing but the metal plates rattle or my joints, snap, cracking, and popping. The Rice Krispies in there. But sometimes I turn music on. But I love it. I have 2 dogs. They come into the weight room.
Yeah.
And have TVs. And I just, it's my time.
Yep.
I get up first thing in the morning and do it. That way there's no excuse. So if a plan or something in the evening, if I chose to sleep in, I have only myself to blame.
Yep.
But I'd be willing to bet I've probably slept in and missed a workout that wasn't scheduled to be missed probably a handful of times in 10 years. Unless it's something out of my control, like something that I have no control over. But I don't do it because it goes back to that discipline thing. Yep. It's part of my routine. It's part of what even a bad workout, slow workout, even though I may upset me that I didn't have a great workout or things didn't fire on all cylinders. Excuse me. I still look back at it a couple of days later and go, I'm glad I did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're actually tied together.
Okay.
And I want to create a lot of success.
Okay.
And financial success, accolades. I'm not sure. I think if one kind of follows the other.
Yep.
You know what I mean? If you create success, the money will follow.
Sure.
If you're a successful baseball player and you make it to the big leagues, you're going to get a big paycheck.
Yeah.
If you're a successful salesperson or the best of the teachers, you'll move up the food chain higher and you'll earn more money. You'll become more valuable to the organization.
Yeah.
And one of the things I like about sales is that we were talking earlier about 0 for 4 day in baseball. Having a short-term memory. What I like about sales is that it's exciting. That next phone call you make, the next door pull you make, could be that big opportunity.
Yeah.
The person waiting to greet you with with a handshake and a smile that says, "Look, we were just talking about this. We'd love to learn from you, or learn about your product.
Yep.
You're the subject matter expert. Tell us what we don't know."
Yeah.
But where I was going with the success is that I want to create success. Of course, money matters.
Sure.
I've never really made a lot of money.
Yeah.
And that drives me. Money doesn't drive me. It's just, I'm not getting any younger. And I've had my trials and tribulations in life. I've made good money, I've lost good money, and I made good money again.
Yeah.
But I want to make a money that has an impact. And as I think about, growing older in myself, but also think about, potential relationship.
Sure.
Relationship with a significant other that, that impactful earnings could help.
Yep.
Can assist with and can provide a future for.
Yep.
And that's important to me. So not only helping myself, but, thinking about, bringing somebody else on board and not being an anchor to them, but being an asset and having something to offer, as far as stability and financial help and just a financial future. So I think something, I feel like, the Army Rangers, that was something that I love. I have some letters of recommendation from them.
I could see that.
And I have some pictures, and I love that. Like, I have contacts there. It's like, when I'm old one day, I'm like, I served, the country by serving these guys and taking care of them. And, and these guys are over fighting, these big wars. And my job is to take care of them and, and show them the way. I was a subject matter expert to make them better soldiers. And I love that. And I love the baseball stories. But, one thing I've never really had is this great income.
Yeah.
And it's that's as bad as that may sound to some people. I want that.
Yeah.
And I want that, that lifestyle. I don't need to be rich,
Right.
but I want a lifestyle that allows you to grow old gracefully, and that affords you that, and affords you the things that, that allow you to have life after, into your older years.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's kind of what inspires me today is really just to get out and
That drive. Yeah.
the drive to eradicate some of my debt and turn that debt into positive numbers, and those positive numbers into greater positive numbers, and then build a future.